We're live now. We're recording the beginning of the podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Herb's Original Sarsaparilla Soft Drink. Sarsaparilla Original.
It's also brought to you by Rum and Coke, the best drink of all time.
Yes.
Can never go wrong with a rum and cola.
Man, I don't know. Sarsaparilla is classic.
Fuck you, rum and cola's bad.
What about your
It's
mechanic?
generally accepted socially, you tip at those places.
What about your mechanic? Do you ever tip your mechanic?
Not a chance, man. That guy's already gouging you for what it is. I mean, come on now. You're getting charged. That's like, would you tip your lawyer?
No.
Would you tip
No,
your
no, you wouldn't.
Would you tip
Never.
your real estate agent, dude?
No.
Come on.
Okay,
now.
well, yeah, like almost like a blog. Like I don't post like, woke up at 5 a.m. this morning and went to the bathroom. Like I don't post like,
Hey, look at this food I ate.
No, I
You
do
did that this morning. Yeah,
I do that. Yeah, I know. I do that. I totally
Oh.
take pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This morning you
Okay.
had sausage,
No, I did not have sausage.
hash browns.
I had
Oh, sorry, it was steak and eggs,
Steak and eggs.
and hash browns,
I did,
and yogurt,
I did see that post.
Yogurt raspberries.
and raspberries.
I feel we should start this. Welcome to episode 3. We've been on a 3-week break due to some traveling I had to do, so my apologies to our few listeners. But we are back in action and ready to
Share
talk
ideas.
about some ideas.
Got some more ideas?
We got more ideas, folks. More ideas.
More ideas, same amount of guys.
What, 3?
Just still 3, yeah.
Three.
Three of us, right?
We tried to get a 4th idea tonight.
I've been drinking a little bit. I'm not sure if I can still count, but I'm pretty sure it's 3.
2.5 ideas.
2.5. Like the guys
2.5
ideas.
going down to 2 and a quarter, eventually just one guy and 2 more.
That's not all me. Rob is also a little
Yeah, we're also having alcohol. Yeah.
There.
That's the intro, I guess, hey? Is that what we're going to record?
I guess that's the intro.
I guess so, okay.
Yeah, that's the intro.
That's
You
a
better
terrible
have some
intro.
good music. No, we can do it again.
No, that's good. No, I'm just fucking around.
3 guys with ideas.
3 guys with ideas. Diaz. Have an echo?
No. Okay.
No
No.
echo.
All right. Well, if you're wondering why the audio quality may not sound as good, Kalen dropped our Yeti mic, so we're using my laptop microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Send all of your hatred towards Blue Yeti. They make terrible microphones, just saying. There you go.
I don't think they make terrible
They
microphones.
make terrible
You
microphones.
can't treat them like it's an old
Yeah, it's not a
piece of-
football, man.
I'll
It's
do
a,
what I
it's,
want.
a, it's a
I
piece of
bought that shit.
audio
I'll do what I
equipment.
want with that shit, okay?
All right. Well,
I'm sad. I'm really sad.
Okay, well, let's just dive right into some ideas. I'm sure you guys are aware, but I have recently started delivering food for a very popular, which I will not name, food service.
It's
here.
not Uber Eats.
Well,
It's
okay.
not Uber Eats.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, Jesus.
It's anything but Uber Eats.
It doesn't rhyme with goober.
You guys, I wasn't going to say the name of it.
Well, you didn't. I said it was not. Did you not hear me? I was very clear that it was not Uber Eats.
It's also not Skip the Dishes. It's not Grubhub. I'm just delivering some food
Yeah.
to some hungry
Food.
people.
Food, you hungry people.
Well, yeah. But so I've this is the first job I've ever had in which I could receive tips, and I've developed some opinions on tipping practices. But I want to hear from you guys first before I go into this rant I've been saving for 3 weeks about to tip or not to tip. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you tip? Who do you not tip? And who do you feel in society deserves a tip?
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Do you want to go first, Martin, or what do you think?
You sure? I can feel this one first.
Yeah, go for it.
Tipping, man. I don't know. I feel like it's personal preference, and all boils down to, um, how visible the process of handling my food is.
It's a fair point indeed.
If somebody has power over my food and I don't get to see it, it's a little bit nerve wracking. There's a lot of places where it's a pre-tipping notion, so you're paying ahead of time with the inference that your food or service will be good. I think that's a little bit risky. It's almost like holding your item for ransom in a way. Because I'd like to think of myself as a good tipper. I'll start at the traditional. I think, what is it, 20%?
15.
15? Oh,
15
dang.
is
So
traditional. 20 is like reasonable, right?
Okay. So I guess I'm pretty decent tipper.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I'll start at around 20%. And like I don't even mind, like, if you make me a good cup of coffee, if I know that my cup of coffee is gonna be good, yeah, absolutely. Like, and I've also been in positions where I have received a gratuity at work, and it's always been appreciated. So I just like to put that karma forward, and so I don't mind tipping at all. Um, I don't necessarily know if somebody should rely on that for their livelihood, because to me that's kind of an above and beyond sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're just doing your job, why do you need some sort of extra on top of that? Your employer should already be paying you to do your job, in my idea. But if you're going to do an extra good job, then, and if you're extra skilled, like, I've had bad cups of espresso before, and I've had really great ones. So to me, if I know that you're going to give me a really great Americano, I'm going to, I'll float you a buck or two. Why not? So I guess that's my take on tipping.
So who do you tip though?
Oh, who do I tip?
Obviously, service industry. So
Oh yeah, it's
food
probably
and beverage.
It's probably service industry sort of stuff. And anybody, I would just say, like, really anybody who you want to feel like you express gratitude and appreciation for their service. So like myself, somebody who I definitely do tip is my tattoo artist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For me, it's really important to have a good rapport with your tattoo artist, and that's my way of showing appreciation for his skill and his quality of work that he delivers. I greatly appreciate that I can call him up with an idea and know that it's in good hands. So, when he delivers on that, I like to say, yeah, thank you very much. And a lot of people appreciate that little financial aspect. So,
yeah. What about your hair barber as well?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, if he goes above and beyond, like, I've gotten some dicey haircuts before.
You didn't tip on those. Yeah.
You go in and you come out with a bowl cut, and you're like, that doesn't get a tip, man.
No.
I wanted a fade with a taper on the back, and you gave me a bowl cut, for real. No, that does not get a tip.
Yeah.
Or if you give me attitude, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna get a tip, man.
No. Yeah.
Like, if you have expectations, like, no. But it's going above and beyond, and really giving that extra experience. That, yeah, heck yeah, I'll float some karma that way.
No, that's fair enough, and I kind of look at it very similarly. I always tip very well when I get a haircut, because I know that's a more important sort of thing, and it's something you do less commonly than, say, taking a cab or going to a restaurant. For me anyways, going to getting my haircut is probably once every 3 months for me. Some people are different, but so that's I'm happy to tip a good amount when I go to get my haircut. Yeah. No cab, same thing. I feel like when you're taking a cab, it's also important to tip. When you're going to a restaurant, you have good service, it's important to tip. But I don't like the idea of tips. I don't like it. I do it because I know it's standard. I know it's the way the world works. But I wish they would remove it, because tips should be, if you get exceptional service and you want to provide someone with more than they earn, more than they deserve, then you should. Someone's awesome. You go to a restaurant and someone really goes above and beyond for you, you tip them. But right now it feels like you have to tip because that's the standard. You should tip at least 15% where you go. I don't like that. I don't like that feeling. The idea that, like, people are getting paid less than minimum wage, so you have to tip them. I get it. I want to tip you too because of that. But like, why is that the case in the first place?
Yeah.
Why is that the norm?
It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's completely wrong. You know, people should be making at least minimum, and then they know what they're getting into, and then tips should be on top of that. There should never be a, hey, we're relying on tips. We're relying on this. Our livelihood depends on you tipping us. I don't like that idea. So yes, I tip because I know that's kind of how the world works, and I'm happy to do so because I know that's the case, but I don't like it. I would prefer to be able to tip only in circumstances where I feel like I got exceptional service. Yeah, so that's kind of my take. I know there's a place too in on Vancouver Island in Nanaimo, I think it is. They started a restaurant with no tips whatsoever. You're not allowed to tip.
Yeah.
They just pay people
And
more.
they pay a fair wage. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
You
Does
know-
that not make more sense? And I bet you they still get tips, right? I know you're not allowed to, but I'm sure people still tip, but it's not expected. And that's the whole point. I think that's super
Yeah.
important. I think that's
Yeah.
the way that we should go.
So that you're not subsidizing some
Yeah.
person's wage, basically. Because, like, if you're an employer, why should you rely on your customers to subsidize
your-
your employees' wage?
Exactly. It feels like it's
Um,
benefiting business owners and business owners alone. It's not actually for the people and the employees. It's realistically just for business owners so they can make more money. And it's sort of up to chance of whether or not their employees make a decent wage, right? I don't like that. I do not like that concept. So I really hope it changes in the future.
So let me ask you guys. Let me just list off a few things. So you guys tip restaurant servers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you go to a fast food place, when you pay for your food before you get it, and there's a tipping function, do you pay a tip there?
It
Depends.
depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
Depends.
Yeah. It depends on what I'm getting.
It also depends if honestly the like cash machine, the whatever your the machine that you pay with, if it has like a do you want a tip sort of thing?
Yeah.
Like I would say 50% of the time at least I will tip. Sort of depends. Like if I'm at McDonald's and they have like a tipping function, I'm probably not going to. I worked at McDonald's. I never got tips. We weren't allowed
Yeah.
to accept tips.
Was there a tipping
Okay.
function there? Do
No.
they let you tip at McDonald's?
No.
No, but like for example, Opa will,
Opa has the tipping
Really?
function.
yeah, right. So like
Dude, it's kind of like, I don't know, like how can you really? I don't know.
Some Subways have the tipping option.
yeah, right. So like that's the
But
thing.
like
is, like, for
Subways,
me-
they make the sandwich in front of you, so maybe
But okay,
you ask for
okay.
extra pickles, they give you a lot of extra
You
pickles.
also pay
Yeah,
after.
maybe you tip.
You pay after as well in that case. So
Yeah, you pay after your food's made.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
But
yeah.
like for me, it's just like I did this job. I never got
Yeah.
tips. I wasn't allowed to accept tips.
Yeah.
Why should I tip then? Right.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to like the places where we accept as mandatory tipping as cabs, as high profile restaurants,
Yeah.
as getting your haircut. Those are all places where you're supposed to tip.
What about your
It's
mechanic?
generally accepted socially. You tip at those places.
What about your mechanic? Do you ever tip your mechanic?
Not a chance, man. That guy's already gouging you for what it is. I mean, come on now. You're getting charged. That's like, would you tip your lawyer?
No.
Would you tip
No.
Hell no, you wouldn't.
Would you tip
Never.
your real estate agent, dude?
No.
Come on.
Okay,
now.
what about like, not saying we have these now because we don't, but what about your landscaper? I grew up a landscaper's kid. We got tips sometimes. What about like the guy who comes to your house every week and like mows your lawn? Do you tip him?
Dude, I feel like honestly, if you can afford to have somebody come to your house and do that kind of stuff, you can afford to float them a little bit of extra cheddar because those people are not making a ton of money.
Extra cheddar.
I don't
Extra
know.
cheddar.
Come on, man. Give
Yeah.
them some extra cheddar, a little bit of sauce on that.
Well, like,
you know what I
and
mean?
That's true. And
Like, what about like your mailman? Like my mom used to put a Christmas gift for our mailman in the mailbox every year.
That's just straight up kindness, man.
Yeah, like I think it's like in places where tips are expected, it's different. But in places where tips are not expected, like your mailman,
Yeah.
that is not an expected tip.
No.
They do not expect a tip. If they're doing something exceptional, like every time, for example, we all struggle with this. Your UPS driver or whatever, they come to your door, they don't even knock. They just fucking leave it there. It's always a pain in the ass. If you have someone who's constantly always making sure you get that fucking delivery,
Yeah.
they're calling you when they arrive or they're texting you or whatever, yeah, I'm probably going to tip that guy simply because he made my life easier. He
Yeah.
saved me time, which is therefore money. I'm going to tip you, right?
Yeah.
But that is not something that was expected. It's something I did because I was like, yeah, man, you did a good job and you deserve this. You deserve that extra cheddar.
All right, so what about this? Something that we all tip for is the pizza delivery guy. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you opt to pick up your own pizza,
Yeah.
do you tip?
I don't think I ever have.
I don't know, man. Like, you know what? I used to work at a pizza place, and they don't expect it when you pick up. So, generally you save a little bit of money anyways by picking it up. So once again, I don't mind floating them a little bit of extra cheddar because I ultimately saved some money by picking it up. So yeah, I don't mind. And plus the kitchen staff really appreciates it because I know that they work hard and it's hot and it's not fun when you're getting slammed making pizzas on a Friday night, and somebody floats you a little bit of beer money for after work, Yeah, man.
You can almost argue, and I can say this because I do deliver food. You could argue the guy in the hot kitchen making the pizza is working a hell of a lot harder than me, listening to podcasts in my car, driving food across town. Like, I might be incurring more expense in like my vehicle and stuff, but the job isn't hard by any stretch.
And this is the problem I've always had. Again, I worked at McDonald's. McDonald's was one of the hardest jobs I've done. I've worked in several different jobs. McDonald's was the hardest, for sure. I don't get tips in any other industry as well, but like I've seen people who do easier jobs who get tips. It doesn't make sense to me. You're not really supposed to tip your McDonald's, cashier that you talk to, but man, they work hard and they get nothing. So it does not make sense to me how tips work. That's why the whole system to me is broken. I don't like it. I wish it would change. I think it should be exceptional service gets you tips. It should not be expected across the board, no matter what industry you're in.
Have you guys ever tipped somebody who pumped your gas?
Oh man.
Because I will tell you, one of my first jobs when I was 14 years old, I pumped gas at this Petro-Canada right outside of Calgary, and I got tips all the time, but it was only from Americans.
Did you know what? If it was the wintertime, I absolutely would float you a bit of coin for pumping my gas. But the thing is, I haven't been to a full, do they even have full service gas stations?
They're few and far between here. There's one right down the street from us, but in Canada, full service gas stations were always an option, right?
Yeah.
But I just drove down to California. In the state of Oregon, it's only full serve gas stations. You're not allowed to pump your own gas, right? And so in the U.S. and a lot of places, there's somebody who pumps your gas, and somebody comes up, grabs my card, puts it in the machine, pumps my gas, and walks away. I don't give that guy a tip, but he squeegees my windows, offers to check my oil, do all this other stuff, and pumps my gas, then I think that guy gets a tip because that's where I used to get tips as a kid.
Yeah. I can see that. I'd float you a couple bucks for that.
Yeah,
sure. But again, I just feel like he should be getting paid enough where he can be sustainable, right?
That's kind of an entry level job.
Relying on tips, though.
Yeah,
that I don't care. If it's an entry level job, man. Relying on tips is a garbage.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think any gas station attendant is relying on tips.
No,
but servers definitely are. There's restaurants in New York City where they have to pay a fee to work there. They make $0 an hour, and they have to pay upwards of $500 to $800 a month to work there.
No way.
But these are restaurants where the average bill, the average two-top, is $400 or $500, and so people tipping on that, they have a section of 10 tables, they're making $800, $900 a night.
Wow.
In tips.
That's a lot.
Man, it's crazy. I need to move to New York and become a server, man.
No shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
But the thing is, those restaurants are impossible to get into. You gotta be skilled. But
well, that's because everyone in the city is making so much goddamn money that they can afford to tip ridiculous amounts of dollars, right?
Yeah.
And that almost makes sense. If I have millions of dollars and I go to any place where there's tips acceptable, I'm probably going to tip the max amount only because I have so much money that, why not, right? Yeah. I want to be a nice guy. Same thing with, celebrities, right? If you ever watched Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, the way that Jerry Seinfeld's we got to tip a high amount because every person we talk to at this point will talk about their experience. We're a celebrity, they served us, they're going to ask, how much did they tip? Right? Yeah. They have to tip a high amount. It's the same thing in New York, I feel like, where it's you serve a high business person.
If you're going to that restaurant,
they have to tip.
I guarantee you it's already probably included in the bill, a 15% gratuity.
Yeah.
And then you're, when I've been on cruise ships, everything you get a Coke, right? A Coke and maybe some chips and salsa.
Nothing.
Right?
Nothing.
No, there's 15% gratuity added onto that. And then there's a tip line. They expect. So
for chips and salsa?
Oh, dude,
chips and salsa.
You get a tip for chips and salsa?
That's what I'm saying. It's nothing. Come on.
My nephew
they
could
did
make
nothing.
me that.
No, dude, on cruise ships,
here's some tortilla chips and a fucking salsa.
You have to tip the cleaner of your room. You have to tip the server at your table because you go to the same table every night. You got to tip the maitre d', You gotta tip the
Oh,
person
man.
who brings you wine. Like, dude, there's so much. Anybody like that's why cruises are like, oh, $250.
Well, yeah, okay.
special.
I'm gonna say vacation tips are probably a whole other ballgame.
Oh, totally.
Right, like that's different. Like especially when you're in a foreign country where they don't make as much money as you
Yeah.
do. You know that they're
Yeah.
sort of third world in a sense. Like that you tip.
Of course,
You just tip.
dude. I get
It's
a whole bunch of
expected.
ones when I'm going down to Mexico because I
Exactly.
know I'm going to be tipping. a
You,
bunch.
you just it's expected at that point. That's different. I'm gonna say than domestic
Yeah.
shipping or domestic tipping rather.
Yeah.
So
I bring this topic up because I kind of have a pet peeve that I want to talk about, and it's not that people don't tip. I actually don't care if people don't tip me, So I do a delivery, I get paid for a delivery, and I choose to work for this company that pays me a certain amount for my time when I deliver food.
not
okay?
Uber Eats.
Not Uber Eats, of course. And so if I don't get tipped, that's fine. My biggest pet peeve is the people who don't own their cheapness.
Yeah,
Honestly,
right.
If you're
Right.
not a tipper, don't give me the fucking song and dance, being like, oh, good, like, can I tip you on the app? Or like, oh, I couldn't figure it out last time.
And it never
Oh, like,
happens.
how do I tip? And then they never fucking
They're
tip.
so technologically declined.
Oh,
they don't know
dude,
what they're
no,
doing.
man! I delivered food to this one girl 3 times here in town, and the first time, no tip, no problem, no big deal. The second time, she feels embarrassed that it's me again, and tells me she couldn't figure out how to tip.
Yeah, I was there for that.
So I showed her on the app how to tip. Didn't tip again. Then I got food the third time I brought to her. She had her boyfriend answer the door, and there was nary a word about tipping. Like, if you're not a tipper, just say, thanks so much, have a good night.
Yep.
That's all I ask.
Yep.
Like, just own it.
Yep.
Own it.
You don't feel guilty, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't tip all the time on Uber Eats, especially because like sometimes, like, what are you supposed to tip for? They come to your door, they give you food, and they're like, "Have a great night." Like, what am I tipping for? Like, what's different, right?
Yeah.
Once in a while,
Candy bags are different.
once in a while, you get a guy who's like super enthusiastic, and you're like, okay, I feel like I have to tip simply because this guy was just like so over the top.
Okay, so maybe
It almost pissed me off. How
But you
over
don't
the
want
top he
that,
was.
though.
maybe
Like,
we
But
do.
at the same time, like
As
I'm
a
like, I
customer.
feel guilty if I don't tip this guy. Literally, it's like I feel guilty if I don't, so I do, and it is. It's the anti-guilt. That's why I
Okay,
tip
okay.
a lot of the time. But for the most part, like, what am I tipping for? Honestly,
Give
like,
them a reason to tip you.
right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
Dress up in an outfit or something. Do a song and dance.
You give me a goodie bag, I'm gonna tip you simply because I'm like, wow, this guy thought about it. He knows
Yeah.
what he's doing. If I was doing this line of work, I would do the same thing if I wanted tips. This is fair. I'm gonna give you a tip. I'm gonna give you a 20% tip for that, right?
Learn to play the uke. If you like showed up and like dropped off your food and played a little song in the ukulele, dude, I bet you that would give you.
Of
Yeah,
course
but-
it would.
but like-
You're gonna give a tip. You can't not tip for
No,
that. Are you kidding
no.
me? You would be a horrible person if you tip
Mhm.
the guy who played a ukulele for you.
But you
Use a fucking lady.
That'd be pretty good.
It's a ukulele.
So problem solved. You
No.
will be, if you are serenaded by your delivery driver, you know who it is now.
no.
Robert.
My thing is when I order food, I don't want the song and dance.
Yeah.
When it gets to my house, just say, here you go. Thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah, but do you want a tip?
Honestly,
Would you tip that?
I am indifferent.
But
Okay?
would you tip the guy who just hands you your food and then leaves?
And I
Yeah,
bet you'd feel
I
it.
have.
You would tip
I
that.
100%.
What
Why?
if?
If they were
What's your
super
reasoning?
efficient and they showed up quickly, and they came up to my door and was like, hey man, how's it going? Here's your food. It's still nice and hot for you. Have a good night. And walked away.
Yeah.
And there was no song and dance. There was no, how's your night going, man? Like,
Would you feel the same though about the tipping if you had extra fuel costs on top of that? Because I know that when I used to drive delivery,
yeah.
like pizzas, part of that tip was to subsidize my fuel costs.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you have an EV, so
Honestly, and like, I don't care if people don't tip. I haven't bitched about it. I haven't complained.
except for now.
No, I
No,
complain.
yeah, it's not even
I'm
good.
complaining about the people who do the song and dance.
Oh.
Yeah,
Who are saying,
that's
like,
frustrating.
Oh, I can tip you on the app, or oh, sorry, I don't have any cash on me.
Yeah.
Like, just own it.
Yeah, it's just an asshole thing to do. You're right.
Own your cheapness, and that's fine. As far as tipping goes for me, like, here's the thing: it's not the server's fault for having to get tips. We live in this society where we built up restaurants. Like until that completely changes and restaurant owners just turn that off and say we do not accept extra gratuity. In exchange, we've raised the prices of some of our menu items to cover paying our employees a fair wage. And if they posted that on the front of the door, if the servers told us that, thank you so much for the gesture, but we actually don't accept tips here. It's all included in your meal tonight. Like that's what needs to happen in society.
Yes.
But it's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen anytime soon.
They're trying.
So I always tip at a restaurant because I have a lot of friends who are servers and they count on it. Especially some of these friends. Like a shout out to any of you people out there who are in a party of 10 or more. You essentially take up a server's entire section. When they get a 10 top plus, they don't get any other tables because they have to attend to you. And if you stinge out on the tip, you are not only like taking away what they could have made from you, but you're taking away what they would have made on a whole bunch of 2, 3, and 4 top customers for the night.
Basically, if you don't tip in a 10 plus party, fuck you.
Yeah, like seriously.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of restaurants have a minimum gratuity on those 10 tops.
Which isn't even enough, by the way.
Which is 15% is not enough.
No, it's not.
Especially because like places like that are cheaper, like a Denny's or a Boston Pizza or like any of these kind of like low grade places. Even like you can even argue like a Moxie's or an Earl's. Like there's not much margin left in the food. And if it's a 10 top and everybody's getting iced teas and Cokes, like no one's buying alcohol, there ain't much left in that.
Yeah.
You know,
especially if they're not buying alcohol.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
It's a great scene there with the tipping when what's his name? Belushi? No, what's his name?
Mr. Brown or
The
Mr.
ugly-
White or
yeah, Mr. White, Mr. Pink.
Mr. Pink.
But the ugly looking guy, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Belushi.
Belushi, yeah.
He's not ugly.
Great point
He's
about
special.
tipping, right? It's a great point about tipping. It's a great movie if you want to learn more about the tipping sort of thing, right? Where he talks about these single moms making minimum wage, or not even minimum wage, and he tips for that reason, right? I mean, that was honestly what changed it for me, because I never used to tip. Me and my brother would go out to restaurants, and we wouldn't tip, because my brother was so like, oh, they don't need a tip, whatever, I'll pay whatever I want. My brother was just sort of like that, and I always followed suit and be like, whatever. I watched that movie, and then that was when I realized, I was like, wow, I'm an asshole, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when I started tipping more, and now I tip always. But yeah, like, I wish it would be different, right? So someone like me that doesn't want to tip, totally justified in thinking that. That's fine. Yep. But it's the fucking restaurants, the employers, who really are wrong in this, and that needs to change.
Well, and if somebody goes over and above, reward them. If somebody doesn't go over and above, don't. And that's how you'll weed out the people who suck at their jobs and don't want to be there. And this goes over and above tipping. If you get good service from a call center employee, ask to talk to their supervisor and praise them.
Please.
It
makes such a difference for them. It's a huge deal.
Like it's not just if you get amazing service from a car mechanic, write them a good review on Google reviews. Don't just tip with your dollars, tip with your feedback.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to add a couple more things because it's been bugging me and I feel this is a good outlet. Yeah. Not just on tipping, but okay. So here are some rules that your friendly neighborhood food deliverer Robert has come up with for when ordering food. Rule number 1: turn your goddamn house light on. Seriously. I deliver food in the dark. It is hard to see your house numbers when there's no light on. Rule number 2: if you want to be super nice, walk out to the curb. You'll get your food quicker. You save me from having to walk around. That'd be really, really nice. Rule number 3: if your house doesn't have house numbers, for the love of God, give me a description. Gray house on the corner. White car in the parking lot. Anything, for the love of God. Help your delivery drivers out. We have a stressful job of people honking at us. We're looking at addresses. We're trying to find your house. And if your house is in the middle of frickin' nowhere and there's 8-foot tall hedges surrounding it and it's on a major road, it is damn hard to find your damn house. Okay? Rule number 3: if your buzzer doesn't work, come downstairs, you idiots.
Or just call upon arrival.
Call upon arrival.
That's fine,
just
right?
something.
Yeah.
Come on. Get your shit together. If you're lazy enough that you want food delivered to you often, at least have the decency to give me some heads up on where the hell I'm going. Make it easy. You don't have to tip me. I assure you, you don't have to tip me. But for the love of God, don't make me circle your goddamn street over and over and over again till I
And then
find the little
bitch-
shack.
And then bitch afterwards.
And then
that you
bitch because I
figure it
couldn't
out.
find you. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
come on.
no, seriously.
That's on you. If there's more than 3 people who have tried to get to your house and they don't know how to, that's on you.
Yeah.
3. That's how many.
And the last point here. If you don't drive and don't have experience driving in the city you live in, for the love of God, keep your mouth shut about how long it takes for me to get to you. If you decide that you want some goddamn crazy bread and some dipping sauce at $5 to your house stat, and it's freaking 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon in rush hour, it's gonna take a minute. Deal with it. Or maybe walk the 4 blocks to the restaurant and get it yourself. Love, Robert. Next topic.
Next time. You guys want to take a little break?
A little break?
Yeah, we can just like pause it.
Just pause it.
Well, yeah, I can set it up that shit.
Pause it. All right, yeah, let's take a little break. Yeah, let's a little break. Okay, there we go. No, we're back.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
We're back. Okay.
Okay, we'll do
And
this
we're
topic.
back.
Yeah, we'll do this topic. Now I'll get another drink afterwards.
From a break.
We're back.
We're back. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can cut all this out because it doesn't
I'll
matter.
But we need a break after the insane topic that we discovered regarding tips.
Yeah, tipping. Yeah.
A little bit of break from that.
It's pretty intense.
But next, I think we're going to cover Martin's topic.
Martin, what you got for us? What's your idea?
My idea is, well, it has to do with social media, and I mean, like, that's not really my idea, but I do have ideas about social media, and I think a lot of other people do have ideas about social media as well. I know that I myself participate in at least 2 forms of social media, so, you know, I'm not a new user to it either. So yeah, I mean, I do have the Facebook and the
Facebooks?
the Facebook and the Instagram as well, and I mean those were both things that I took up you know, a little while ago to keep in touch with friends and family, kind of like, you know, keep track of my daily life with photos and share those moments with people. But I guess like even before that, my history with social media starts even a little bit way before then, if any of you remember Nexopia.
Oh, yeah, Nexopia. American listeners will have no idea what that is. You want to explain what Nexopia is there?
Nexopia. I don't even know what Nexopia was, man. It was like social media, but like you got to make your own page and connect with other people. So it was kind of like a really awkward version of social media plus a dating app.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like
your own
which, by the way,
profile.
Nexopia was Canada only. Canada only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so American viewers won't have any idea what
But
that is.
but there was MySpace as well. That was back in the early days.
Were you friends with Tom?
No.
Everybody was friends with
He
Tom.
friended everyone in
Yeah.
MySpace. Yeah.
Well, MySpace Tom. I don't know. Sorry. I remember who you were, but I think I probably was just like, I don't know this guy.
He doesn't care. He's got billions of dollars. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. So. But I mean, like so for us, you know, early 30s, you know.
How old are you, Kaylin?
For Nexopia?
No, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so we have 2 34-year-olds and a 25-year-old.
But Kaylin remembers Nexopia, and a lot of people can remember growing up with some form of social media, so it's become pretty prevalent in a lot of people's daily lives. You know, a lot of people have apps on their phones which allow them to, up to the moment, you know, be able to post things and stream live even their lives. And I guess the thing is, you know, how far along are we as a society with social media and having it be intermingled into our culture now? You know, is that a good thing? Is it a healthy thing? I know a lot of people that I know have actually challenged themselves to abstain from social media for mental health reasons or various other reasons. Do you know what I mean? So is social media also something that's giving back to us, you know, as much as it's taking from us? You know, our data, our information, selling it back, basically, you know, all of those things considered. Kaylin, how do you view social media and just maybe share a little bit about your thoughts, your
When you
ideas.
started.
For sure, yeah, that's something we talked about a little bit earlier. I think it's smart for us to say how we got into social media. I think that's important to the conversation, and absolutely our thoughts on where social media is today. I actually did not use Nexopia. All of my friends did, but I'm very aware of it. I was in grade 6 at the time when Nexopia was a big thing.
Okay.
Grade 6, that's what we say in Canada, not 6th grade. It's a big difference. But yeah, no, I remember it. Nexopia was basically a dating app, honestly, is what it was, that's where you went to meet girls. That's what Nexopia was. So you post your best pictures and you post your best statuses, and that's what Nexopia was, a good way to meet girls. I didn't use it. My friends did. I actually started with Facebook pretty late to the party. And I had friends online, and I decided to post my Facebook account. I remember my friends making fun of me because I posted an image of like me not looking at the camera. Because I mean, like, come on, you're gonna post a social. You don't want to look at the camera.
Like an album cover.
You gotta look away. So I was looking completely to the side with a white wall in the background. And I have a really big nose, and my friends always make fun of me for it. So when I posted that,
picture,
and to try to dissuade them from making fun of my nose, I posted an image and it was nose equals MC squared, to be like, I'm funny, haha, my nose is big. And my friends were just like, you have the biggest nose in the world. I remember that. I joined Facebook, I think it was 2007. And
that wasn't that late to the game.
It's still pretty late.
That's when Facebook was about a year old.
Maybe, considering where my friends were. They joined a lot earlier.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I remember joining Facebook. I loved it. I actually thought it was a great thing. Good way to connect with your friends. It was like the new school MySpace, or not MySpace, MSN Messenger.
Oh yeah.
Because we all just fucking talk to each other on MSN.
Messenger, MSN.
Right? So I was super down with Facebook. They also had super cool apps, like games. I was playing Super Mario on Facebook, and I was super down. So I loved it. It's a good way to keep up and stay in touch with everyone. And then it became more of a blogging thing where you blog your favorite quotes, which is now what Twitter is, I would say, in a sense. Your 150 characters sort of, end of the day sort of posts. So that's what I used Facebook for originally. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think in terms of how social media affects us today, I don't mind it. I know a lot of people are against it, and they think that it's a bad way to stay in touch socially speaking. I think it's really more on how someone sort of treats that. For a lot of people, maybe it's dangerous because they don't socialize outside of social media. And that could be a problem. For those of you who stay in your home all day and don't do anything except for only post on Facebook, yeah, I can see that could be a bad thing.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. But if you use Facebook to stay in touch with your relatives that are international or really far away from you, you can't talk to them on a regular basis. If you want to share your experiences that otherwise you probably wouldn't in a day-to-day conversation, I think it's a really good thing. I only think it's a bad thing when people are, completely antisocial, and that's their only social interaction is when they're on Facebook or on whatever social media, Snapchat or Instagram. Yeah. I think that is a problem. But for me, I don't personally feel that way.
Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah, I use Instagram. I used to use Snapchat. I'm done with Snapchat just because I feel like Snapchat's almost the same as Instagram or Facebook nowadays. They all have the sort of same features, right? So it's really just about what your desired platform is. In our region, I feel like Snapchat is not as popular. Instagram is the place to be. So I do Instagram. That's probably my number one source for being social. Yeah. Facebook as well is pretty up there in terms of that as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's just, it can be a bad thing for people who, can't really find this certain balance. That's my kind of take on it.
So those addictive qualities that Facebook is known to have might not necessarily be so good if you have an addictive personality.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on the person, right? It's the same thing with the argument of bad cartoons or TV shows causing violence and stuff like that. I don't think it's the TV shows or the cartoons or whatever that's causing that. I think it's the people's reaction to it and how they treat it. And that's how I feel about social media. It's it can be a perfectly good thing depending on how you react to it. And for me, I don't feel like I react to that in a negative state. So I like it. I like the idea of it. People just need to fucking, watch themselves. And that's important. What do you think, Rob?
Roboito, what do you think about this social media business? The Facebooks.
I have a unique viewpoint on it. So my history with social media, I was huge into MSN originally. Like I lived out in the country.
Did you nudge people a bunch?
Yeah, when you
You
would shake
fucking
their whole
dick.
screen.
You
asshole.
Did you have MSN dates as well?
You
Did you set up
motherfucker.
like times to chat with young ladies?
No, well, I did. No, but like MSN was that first kind of platform where you could have a profile picture. They added a feature that if you used Windows Media Player, it could show what you were listening to. So it was like super cool. You have this epic profile picture.
Hell yeah.
You were listening to some like sweet Linkin Park or something.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could add that. You could also add like.
Could you share music as well on that?
No, but it would just show like what you were listening to. If you Windows Media Player, it would be like Robert is listening to this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Windows Music Player.
Yeah. And it also had the feature like you could put like feeling sad, feeling happy. Like you had that feature. So I was huge into MSN. Like I will admit, I think I professed my love to like 2 different girls on MSN because that's what you did.
Yeah, that's what you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you'd be there in person, then you tell them like, oh, I like you on like MSN.
The girls were webcamming with me. It was the greatest. Not like in that, not like
No,
nude or anything like that. They webcam with me because that was the thing you did back in 2007.
See, we didn't have webcams back when I was on the messengers, but because I think I did start off with Yahoo Messenger first, and then moved to MSN. Yeah. So yeah, but then I got Nextopia just completely went over my head. I didn't get it. My girlfriend at the time was on it. I didn't care. MySpace, I had it for a moment, like it's just a brief moment. I think I went on there, created a profile, posted all my favorite Linkin Park and 3 Days Grace songs, and never went back to it. I think Tom was my only friend. And then Facebook. I got into Facebook back when I don't know if you guys remember this, but like when Facebook was so new, it was still about who you belong to, like organizations. So it's like if you wanted to join, like I think at the time I worked for Visions Electronics, like you had to have an @Visions Electronics email to join that workplace group,
Right.
Because it was still very much about like
exclusivity,
like groups you belong to. One of the fun things I first did on Facebook when I was a young man is I have a whole bunch of family in California that I've never met or never connected with, but that we share the same last name. So I created a Facebook group called There's Nothing Like a Mandel, my last name, right?
Love it.
And connected with like about 40 people who all shared the last name, and we all were sharing stories about like where we got the last name, and kind of like before Ancestry was a thing, was kind of doing that,
Right.
So that was fun. Throughout the years, I've worked for companies who directly worked with Facebook. I worked for LivingSocial.com, who started off on Facebook. I don't know if you guys remember, but you could create your own top 10 lists. So it's like my top 10 cars or my top 10 movies.
Like
my top 10 music.
Yeah, top 10 music. You literally could create a top 10 list of anything you wanted. That was this app called Living Social, which grew into a Groupon like daily couponing site. So I was super into Facebook then, got into sales and marketing and stuff like that.
Big on Facebook, yeah.
So yeah, Facebook was just a way of life. Like it was before LinkedIn came. It was like that's how I made money.
Big deal.
But I've also been one of those people that I have used Facebook as a journal, I guess you could say.
You do.
I don't post.
A blog.
Yeah, like almost like a blog. Like I don't post like, woke up at 5 a.m. this morning and went to the bathroom. Like I don't post like,
hey, look at this food I ate.
No, I
did that this morning. Yeah,
I know. I do that. I totally take pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This morning you had sausage.
No, I did not have sausage.
Hash browns.
I had.
It was steak and eggs, and hash browns.
I did.
And yogurt.
I did see that post.
Yogurt
and raspberry.
All right. Yeah, Rob, you're still millennial at heart.
Okay, no. I never take pictures of food at restaurants. I only take pictures of the food I create.
All right.
Because it's my art.
That's fair.
It's my art. That is what I enjoy doing.
That's what your Facebook is for posting your art.
Yeah.
That's totally acceptable.
So now, things you post on Facebook then, are you, how do you feel about the security aspect of that?
Don't care.
No? So,
Yeah, same.
So what about, how would you feel if your bosses were to search your social media? Because I've been in positions before where my previous bosses have admitted to me that before they hired me,
Yeah.
they scoured my social
I
media.
do that too. Before I hire people,
Why
I look at their
not?
social
Yeah,
media.
it just seems like a good idea if you're hiring
Yeah.
someone.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, I have a rule for myself. If I don't want the world to know, my boss, my grandma, my distant relatives, my parents, my friends, if I don't want the world to know, I don't post it.
On social media, yeah.
Right? That's,
Good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, like some of my opinions and some of the things I post are controversial. I've been super political on my Facebook page. I've posted a lot of stuff, and I personally don't care. I do not care if somebody reads it and gets offended. By all means, don't follow me.
Fair enough. Yeah, and like I've done sort of things like that too. I usually try to stay away from politics. Same reason. Like if you're in a room full of people, you're probably not going to talk about your political views. It's one of those three things you stay away from, right?
Yeah.
What is it? Politics, religion, and there's one more. Sport.
No.
It's not sport.
It's not sports.
Sports is fun. There's one more thing. I don't know what it is. There's politics, religion, and one more thing, right? You don't talk about. Not being said, I've done that before on Facebook. Like on the guns topic, I was super anti-guns because I was like, this is just getting out of control. I'm sick and tired of seeing people getting killed in the United States. Like seriously, take away guns. Like I had that, and it was a huge thing, and everyone commented and disliked or liked. So I've done that. I've done that myself. Now, something I am curious about. Weed became legal in Canada, and I posted on my Instagram that I was like, buying weed legally online. My friends will say that's very unclassy. It's not classy to do so. I'm just happy that weed became legal. I just want to post the fact that it's legal now. That's cool. Do you think that's not classy?
Tell your friends they're idiots.
Well, how would
Do you
you?
think so?
Okay, so then imagine this. Say you have an employer now who their policy is against cannabis.
You can't smoke weed at work. Sure, I'm not going to smoke weed at work. That's fine. Why should that matter if I posted on my weekend on Instagram that I bought weed? Right?
Because potentially an employer could come back to you and they could, then make difficult for you. And I mean, it's the information that you put out there and how it's really being used. Facebook a little while ago had a huge data breach where a bunch of personal information was leaked.
Yeah.
So I mean, this kind of information, even your name, your age, your address, your phone number, things like that in the wrong hands can be very dangerous. So I mean, how much are we really trusting social media with our daily lives? Do you know what I mean? With geotagging now, it's not even very hard for you to find out where somebody is. Where they've been, what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? How much information do you really want out there?
I think that's individual to each person. Like, I personally don't care if my friends knew that last week I was in Washington State staying at the Super 8 Hotel in a town called Kelso. Like, I don't give a shit if they knew that. Because most of my friends already knew that I was there. And if some businesses want to advertise to me being like, hey, there's a sweet 2-for-1 pizza deal right next to the hotel you're at, sweet. Maybe I want a 2-for-1 pizza deal.
So it doesn't bother you at all that people are making money off of your information?
No.
It just kind of goes
because the convenience.
Honestly, sometimes it's helpful.
And dude, I've made money off of Facebook.
It's helpful.
I've met people on Facebook. I've used Facebook. I've advertised on Facebook. I have made a metric ton of money off social media myself, selling people, putting the word out there. It's a medium, and I kind of just view it as the same thing. If you're uncomfortable with your information being shared, you are opting in to put your personal information on a private corporation's website. So get the hell off.
Well, I guess
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
That's kind of the thing is, people actually realizing what they are signing up for, what kind of rights they are signing over, because a lot of people don't read the fine print.
Yeah. Well, no one does.
Do you know what I mean? And so,
no one does.
So your Facebook gets hacked and your information gets leaked, and all of a sudden you're feeling very violated. Well, guess what? They've been doing this. They've been using your information for a long time. And that kind of information, it was never really safe to begin with. So
yeah, well, that's my take, right?
Yeah.
It's like you put your information online on Facebook, you're admitting to yourself that your information is available to the online world.
Yep.
That's just how it works. And I don't care. I personally don't care. I don't think it matters. I get it. Like, there's an argument against it. Like, your information should be safe. I understand why people are so, concerned about their information being safe and not having people, random people off the street see it. But, like, for me, it's like, I know it's there. People can find it if they want it. There's no way to protect yourself nowadays. My address, I have to tell the government about it.
Yeah, every time you do your tax returns.
Every time, right? Like, someone's going to know about my information.
Yeah.
It's going to be out there. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I personally I don't bother caring anymore.
Well, I do is I don't appreciate the people who don't educate themselves. I worked at a cell phone store. I managed a cell phone store, and I had almost all female reps when Snapchat first came out. And they were all so excited because they could finally send nude pictures of themselves to the guys they were dating, and no one would ever see them because they delete after however many stupid seconds. And I told all of these girls, you're foolish. If you think these photos aren't being saved somewhere, you're being just dumb. You're just dumb.
As it turns out, those images were being saved somewhere.
And they all thought I was the biggest idiot and I was just old man Robert telling like conspiracy theory. And sure enough, a month later, there was a massive Snapchat leak where 14,000 photos of Canadians, Americans, and Europeans got leaked. Naked photos of users. And like right there, I was just like, this is your fault. I'm sorry. But you're the one who chose to use a private company's platform to send your naked pictures to somebody else under the illusion that these pictures magically deleted. That they never existed because they deleted off your boyfriend's phone in 90 seconds. Give me a freaking break. You're sending data over the interweb. It's saved. And they were that ignorant, though. They honestly thought, no, this is finally a safe way where I could send my private images to friends and my boyfriend. And God, were they wrong. And that's the thing. Own what you put on social media. If you can't stand behind it, if you're a stupid troll, if you're saying dumb things, like, own it. I'm sorry, but own it. We live in a world now where Roseanne loses her freaking job off a #1 hit series because she posted one stupid post on Twitter. Guess what? This is the world we're in. So own your shit.
Yeah, that's true. Own your shit. That's a good point. I'd never posted anything on any social media that I wasn't like ready to defend myself on, right?
Damn straight.
Like, whatever. If someone wants to disagree to, if someone wants to like remove me because they're so offended by what I posted, go for it. Right? Like, I'm never in this like concept of like, this is private. It's not. It's public. Yep. Literally, the idea of social media is it's public. It's not private.
So what if you're a creator then?
What kind of creator?
What if you create? What if you make art?
Sure, yeah.
Then
But you're not open to criticism if you make art.
No.
You're going to be criticized.
No, not criticism. That. What if you then make art and then you post it out into the public domain over social media? And then does it become property of the public domain, or is that still your intellectual property? I've personally run into instances before where I'm really into photography, and that's my art that I've put out there. And I've personally run into instances where other people have felt like they've had the right to then use my material without my explicit consent.
And that's not true, right? Like, I agree. I don't like the terms of service, right? Like Instagram, they changed the terms of service 3 or 4 years ago, where it was like, now all of your images you upload are now belonging to them.
Yeah.
So they can use it for what they want. That does not mean other people can use it for what they want. You can still sue, right? But the fact that Instagram now owns all your images, I don't like that. Yeah, of course I don't like that. I feel like it's a totally different argument. But it's because they're a private company. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
And you're choosing to put your art on there.
But the thing is, what are you now? You're going to choose to go to the other social media? Oh, wait, they all have the same rules, right? Like, it's there's not really an option for you to do that without getting exposure, right? That is a complicated problem. I don't like that personally. That your image you upload is now no longer yours. That pisses me off, yes. But what are you going to do about it? Right?
So is it giving back more than it's taking? I mean, does it really contribute more to our lives than it's taking? Because like
it does.
It contributes more than it takes.
Yeah. I mean, like, how else would you have exposed your images to people, right? Like, they wouldn't have given a shit. What are you going to do? Email it to people? You're going to email it to people, Martin?
I still don't think they give much of a shit, but that's probably reflective in the number of likes.
How many likes did your last Instagram post get?
Oh, not as many as it used to.
30 plus, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, mine gets
Would that
a lot
have happened
less.
if you emailed people? No, right? Like, it's just how it works, man. It's you gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I guess so. It's fair enough. I don't know, but like, I guess I don't do it for those kinds of reasons. Even it's nice to have a platform to get your stuff out there, but I mean,
Absolutely.
it's like, I don't know, is it really worth it? And for me, I don't know, like, I can say in my personal life, a lot of the times, like, it's a way to get stuff out there, take it for what it is, it's, I don't let it be my life though,
Yeah.
like, I like to live in the real world, and for me, that will always take precedent over my on life, or my online persona or whatever, I put out there, so, I don't know, that's my idea about it.
We still got 7 minutes. How did you get into social media there, Martin?
I just got into social media as a way to connect with friends and family.
When?
I was gone.
What's your first social media account? Was it Nextopia? Was it MySpace? Was it?
I was on Facebook before him. He joined shortly after me. I
Yeah.
remember like Martin was probably my third friend on Facebook.
To be fair, though, you're the one who probably uses Instagram the most out of all of us.
Yep.
Yeah, I probably use Instagram the most, but like it's not what it's used to be. After Mark Zuckerberg took it over, it just kind of went to shit. You can put me on record saying that Instagram went to shit. Your algorithm is garbage and it kills creativity. Mark Zuckerberg, you are the devil.
Seriously though, honest to God, that is true. You're not just saying that. I talked to a lot of business owners that use Instagram as their ad campaigns, and all of them have had a hard time ever since Mark Zuckerberg took over.
Yeah, the Instagram killed
man,
it, man.
They completely changed the algorithm.
Yep.
They killed businesses.
It feels like it's all tits and ass now, and there's like nothing else.
It killed small businesses. Literally killed them.
Yeah, I mean, like back in the day, like if you were good and you put good stuff out there, you would get a following. You could market yourself, but now it's really mostly about engaging the algorithm and doing what it says. And honestly, like I know some people who are able to do that, and I don't even want to know how many hours per day that takes to put that much effort into getting 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 followers, man. Like you're basically showing your entire life on Instagram.
Yeah.
And like at that point, when you're taking away from your real life interactions to engage in an app on a phone, like to me that's kind of whack. To me, that's when you've lost the balance and you kind of need to, maybe check your reality a little bit. Is your reality in an app, or is your reality out here
in the real world?
Yeah, outside of a screen. So I mean, like moderation, balance, all those good things,
Yeah,
I think social media is wonderful as long as it doesn't steal the moment right now. Like connect with friends and family all you want. Share your opinions. Use it as a blog. Use it as a venting station. Use it to post beautiful selfies of yourself if you freaking want. If it makes you feel good about yourself, But if you are having to be on social media while you should be being social, there's something really freaking wrong with that. Oh, yeah. So that's my final thought on social media.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good point. It's an important point.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing to say because that's a problem.
Put your phones away when you're hanging out with friends.
Balance.
How hard is it nowadays, right?
Put them away.
I'm worried for the next generation. I really am. They don't know how to socialize anymore. Honest to God. And like I honestly grew up in that time where it's like we all were on the internet all the time. It was hard. It was hard to get away from that and be able to socialize with friends. Yeah. You're so used to being on your phone. You're so used to being on your computer. That's how I socialized in MSN. That's what we did. That's what we did.
Man, I love
it's
unplugging.
hard to understand how to talk to people. And that's something that the new generation needs to know, and it's important. It's extremely important, and it'll always be important. Please don't lose sight of being social with your friends.
Unplug, go out in the woods, go for a walk with your friends, get some fresh air, go to the beach.
Preach.
Preach.
Go for coffee. Go to a board game cafe.
Leave your phone in the car, or maybe, crazy thought, leave it at home.
Yeah.
What?
And go out
Don't
with your
put it on the
friends.
table. Don't touch it. When you're with your friends, don't text. That's all I'm just saying. It's a super important, honestly, powerful move.
For one day.
Yeah. That's a power move.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with Kaylin.
Yeah,
Kaylin.
I guess it's my turn to talk about a
It's
topic.
It's your turn.
Good topic so far. Damn, we are making this the longest episode we've had so far.
Out of 3.
That's because it's
Absolutely.
been 3 weeks and we had a lot of stuff to say. I
We
guess.
had
Yeah.
those, and those were good topics. They were good, interesting topics. I'm sure you'll have a lot to say. Please make sure to comment or subscribe about what you want to say about that stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and segue into fake news.
Well, fake news. Speaking of social media, there's a lot of fake news on social media. I'm sure that a lot of people have heard that term by now.
Big topic.
Ugh.
We're not just talking about the Donald Trump bullshit where, fake news, CNN. We're talking about the stuff where, on social media, you see those posts where it's clearly misleading. And you've seen it, your mom, your aunt, your grandma, they fall for it. They share it. They say, hey, look what's happening in the world. And it's just completely false. There is no truth to it whatsoever. There are people just trying to get clicks and views, and it's a problem. So I'm going to know what you guys think about this sort of stuff. The stuff you've seen on social media where, hey, look, this is 100% not true. You see your friends commenting about it, sharing it. I want to know what you guys think. How do we stop this problem? How big of a problem is it? How is the, sharing of news affecting our society?
I think, honestly, I'm just going to come out and say it right off the bat. Hopefully it doesn't kill the conversation on my point too much, but this is a new term, I'm sure, for some people. It's called critical thinking people.
What's critical thinking, Martin?
Critical
Tell me
thinking.
more about this critical thinking and logic.
In order to critically think about something, you have to process information. You have to take in information and you have to think of it critically. Does this make sense? Is it based in truth? Is it factual? All of these things. And I think, a lot of the time on social media, something just gets thrown up, a certain camera angle gets thrown up, and some words get plastered, and boom, you've got a news story. All of a sudden you have, whatever, and it's used by one, either a political party or somebody to further their agenda, and it often creates a very biased outlook, and it often feeds off of people's emotions. And so before you start actually thinking, hey, is this true? You're all of a sudden outraged and reposting this thing that's not even based in fact.
There's no facts.
And so if you're able to train yourself to think critically, you can take in this information and you can look at it and you can say, is this true? Is it based in fact? And is this legitimate?
So how would you go about discovering that? What is your process when you see something on Facebook and you're like, I really want to believe this is true?
The source. Honestly, the source. I always look to the source. If it's some shady Facebook page, chances are.
So you're gonna do some Google searches and figure out. Hey,
I'm gonna do
more
some
people saying this.
I'm gonna do some Google searches. I'm gonna educate myself on the topic a little bit and see, what's actually going on, and what angle is trying to be spun to me. Because I think when you look at the larger picture, a lot of people like to present their perspective on a topic. And even if it's something not totally false or outrageous, a lot of times you'll get quote unquote news stories presented in a very biased light or a very biased manner, presenting even facts which are not completely relevant or paint a different narrative than what is actually taking place. So that also comes into critically thinking. If you're able to look at these things, decipher the information, because sometimes they present a lot of information that's not even very relevant to what's taking place. Being able to decipher that information and finding out for yourself, is this factual? Is this true? What do I think of this? What is my opinion on this? Not what everybody else is thinking about this. What do you think about it?
Yeah, and I think where that really struggles, right, is when someone goes, my opinion aligns with this news story that I'm reading, so I'm going to believe it 100% because I believe this too, which is what we talk about all the time now in the current age, right? People being biased in the sense that I read something that I agree with, I believe it. I want to believe that's true.
Well, especially
I'm going to go ahead and believe that's true.
Especially when it plays on your emotions, and especially if it plays on your fears. Do you know what I mean? So if all of a sudden you have something that's not completely true but is playing on your fears and your emotions, well, all of a sudden, it's going to take your opinion that you might have had, and it's not going to cause you to find out where your opinion comes from. It's just going to, maybe reflect those biases which were already installed in you previously. So, once again, critical thinking, so important.
So do you think that's the solution then?
Uh,
Rob, we're gonna talk to you in a moment here, but do you think that's the solution? Is critical thinking and logic is the solution to that problem?
I think logic would help a lot of people, but like the unfortunate thing is, we live in a very fear-based and irrational world where a lot of people react out of emotion, and I can't say that the answer is to think critically, but to be able to think for yourself is a really big step for a lot of people. So I would encourage people to start thinking for themselves. Is this true? Is it factual?
Question everything they read.
Yeah, don't take it as gospel truth, because there are people, believe it or not, who are going to purposefully mislead you. I know this might be shocking.
Shocking.
People might try to purposefully mislead you. I'm sorry if that burst your bubble, but
Really?
yeah.
I heard the other day on Facebook's that if I subscribe to their channel, that they're going to give me $100. So you telling me that's not true?
I've never received a check from anybody in the mail.
Oh, darn!
That prince from
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. I don't know. You guys didn't get that email from that prince from Zimbabwe as well.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah. Did you send him? Did you send him your social security number?
Oh yeah, all my.
So I don't know. Yeah, I just think use your gray matter. Use your gray matter.
Your gray matter. What's your gray matter? What does that mean?
It's your brain.
Use your brain.
Gray matter.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for your opinion there, Martin. I appreciate that. Great way to say it. Rob, let's hear from you next. What do you think? How do you think about fake news and how it affects our society today?
I think it proves which of your friends are fucking stupid.
Good way to open. Okay, let's hear some more about that. Though.
No, I mean, I can't tell you. I'm not going to name any names, but I can't tell you how many times I've been in a social situation where somebody tries to act as if they know something about a topic, or like something that's like, kind of mainstream in the news right now. And they're literally just regurgitating what they saw in a freaking meme off of Facebook posts that I've seen. I follow local Facebook page, Victoria Today. They do a lot of news, and they post a lot of ridiculous clickbait shit.
Absolutely.
And I've had friends straight up regurgitate it in front of me, being like, "Oh, I heard that, like, this and this and this is happening. Like Victoria's doing this, and they were over budget on this." Like, they're just completely regurgitate stuff. And I try. Sometimes it's a good time to challenge, being like, "Oh, so you saw Victoria Today's Facebook post too? I see. Did you read the article?"
Yeah.
Like, the worst thing you can do if you want to feel bad about humanity and the stupidity of the people around you is read the comment section of news articles. They read the one headline, and they don't read anything else, and yet they form a one-paragraph opinion about either being offended or their deep-rooted opinion on incarceration or terrorists or our immigration, all these things off of one sentence.
They write a paragraph, they read a sentence.
Damn straight. They write a paragraph, they read a sentence.
Gotta read the whole thing.
Everybody's got a damn opinion and they don't know shit about it. And there's nothing wrong with the words, "I don't know."
There isn't.
There's nothing wrong with saying you're like,
hey,
I haven't heard about that.
Things. We don't all know.
I don't know. I'm going to research. I'm going to research that. I'm going to read into it. I think, Trump has made the phrase fake news completely bullshit, because
it is.
He literally has said something, and then when they reported that Trump said this, he calls it fake news.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
That's not what fake news is.
No. But I think we have a society that wants to be spoon-fed instantly. There's instant gratification, and they want everything easy. They don't want to read that Wikipedia page. They don't want to read, they don't want to freaking click an article, because they're probably worried they're going to get 15 ads and have to click that next button. But hope they click the right next button, because 3 of them are a freaking ad. And, read the actual article. So I don't blame them for not wanting to click into some of these articles, but...
Well, it's even more than that, right? I mean, like, the articles will sometimes support them, even if they read it.
Yeah.
The famous line from The Newsroom by Aaron Sorkin, one of my favorite shows on the planet. People choose the facts nowadays.
Yeah.
Right? You have opposite articles saying the exact opposite, and they're both factual. How do you determine what's right and what's wrong?
Yeah.
Right? They're both just spinning the way that they want to say things. And both of them aren't even necessarily wrong. They're both using facts, but they're only choosing the facts that support their argument, which is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you mean with what you're saying. Right?
Well, and we live in a world now where articles are opinion pieces. They're not factual pieces. And at the end of the day, how I feel I consume news now is I have to read more than one opinion. So I watch a lot of international news. I watch BBC. I watch Russia Today. I will watch CNN.
So how many times when you're watching something or you're reading something where you have the completely opposite opinion of what's written, do you change your mind? How often does that happen, do you think? How often do you change your mind when you read something that's completely opposite?
If I believe it to be factual, I think pretty easily. But honestly, if you're actually diving deep into researching something, doesn't it kind of mean that you want your idea changed?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
If I 100% believe something, why am I researching it?
No point,
right?
Well,
no point.
You want to know that it's based in actual truth.
Yeah, I want to know that's based in truth.
That actually
but if
that's fair.
But
right?
if it's not, then you are kind of searching. You're searching for the what if. You're searching for am I getting all riled up about this because I read one Facebook post?
Well, that's the difference, right? Do you hold your opinion because you want to be right, or do you hold your opinion because you're not sure? But that's the thing. Is like if you have an opinion about something, and you're like, I don't know if this opinion is justified, and you research, and you can actually go, wait, I was wrong. This says different, and there's an actual factual reason for that.
Yep.
Right, and then you change your opinion. I think that you're a very critical thinking person. That is something that's very hard to do and very rare in our society. Right? But if you're the kind of person that always, for some reason, whenever you believe something, you research it and you're right, you're probably doing something wrong, I'm going to say. Unless you're very lucky and you're always right about everything, probably not the case, right? Like, that's very rare. Some people maybe, but 1% of the time. You should be able to go, I think this, I'm going to research it. Oh, wait, I was wrong. If that has never happened to you, then you're doing something wrong, in my opinion.
But I don't think it's necessarily even about being right and wrong. I think it's about being informed. Do you know what I mean? Just like actually being informed to what's actually happening in the world. And when you have actual journalists who are reporting objectively what's happening, it doesn't become an opinion. It just becomes a reporting of the facts, what actually happened. There are definitely media outlets which do a way better job of reporting facts.
So who do you think does a good job of reporting facts?
I know that the CBC has received awards for their objective.
So. CBC, I think, is very sensationalized.
They have received awards.
Yeah, everyone's receives rewards. Right?
Like CBC also
for objective reporting.
I've had first-hand experience with CBC where they have legitimately sensationalized the stories that I've been a part of.
For objective reporting. That's what they've received awards for.
Yeah.
Is objective
but like
reporting.
they also
So who gives them the objective rewards?
Let's see here.
Yeah, because CBC recorded our Occupy Edmonton movement, and they completely interviewed like 6 of us down there, and we had really good points. What Occupy Edmonton was
but
about.
They only brought up the points.
And what did CBC air that night? All CBC aired was the 2 homeless people they interviewed, saying that they want free food and free shelter for everybody.
Right.
And that's what CBC reported that the Occupy movement was about in Edmonton, when that was not the case.
So don't get me wrong, like, I understand why someone could go, well, CBC is a great reporting in the industry because of the awards they've won. Right, I've seen that too. They've won awards in that sense. But how do you know, right? Because I feel like the people who give the awards in companies could also be sensationalized, right? It's very hard to say. And that's the problem with news media today. Is it's so hard to know what's true and what's not. What's sensationalized, what's not, what's biased and what's not, right? It's so difficult. It's so difficult to say. And all we have to sort of counter that is critical thinking and logic. Being able to research the things for ourselves and seeing the different opinions and then, bringing the best facts up to the top, right? It's so hard today, and that's why this is such an important topic to me. Because I don't know the solution. I really don't. It's such a complicated, subject. And from my first-hand experience with CBC, I don't think that they do a good job in reporting, the facts.
You were interviewed by them like 3 times.
I think that they are very sensationalized in the way that they provide the facts on situations. They only choose the facts that they want to be public. They get 10 facts, they report 5.
But they're a hell of a lot better than Fox News.
I mean, yeah, but
like
it's the same thing. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
As Fox News will get 10 subjects, they'll report 5 because they go, these other 5s, they don't go to our audience.
Yeah.
Our audience won't support these 5 facts, so we'll only talk about the other 5 facts.
I don't know if
they
you
choose which facts they want to provide.
If you want to know facts, in 2018, the CBC won 51 awards by the Radio, Television, Digital News Association for their work in national, regional journalism, TV, web, and radio. So they think they're doing a pretty decent job. 51.
Yeah,
and the previous year they took home 44 awards.
Yeah, but that's the industry. That's the industry awarding themselves.
And that's fair enough. Like I don't disagree with
you. But you
like,
have to do a good job at journalism,
absolutely,
in order to take home.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah. They probably earn those awards, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, would we agree that CBC is a left?
They're public.
They're a leftist organization.
They're a public.
Would you disagree that they're a leftist organization?
But like you're talking to 2 guys who have been interviewed by CBC.
Yeah, I've been
they're
interviewed
leftist,
by CBC as well, dude. I've been on CBC TV before.
Yeah.
Are they not left? They're so left. And that's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I didn't find there was. I didn't find that they had any particular political.
You don't think so, really?
Well,
when they interviewed me, they didn't have an agenda that they were pushing.
Their agenda was making the Occupy Edmonton movement look like a bunch of homeless people who wanted free shit, and that was not what we were.
I don't know. That sounds like an opinion.
We have different experiences. Yeah, you're right.
It sounds like an opinion and not a fact. I mean,
that's not an opinion. I was interviewed, and they didn't show my interview or the 4 other people they interviewed. They showed the 2 eccentric homeless people they interviewed.
But you don't know why.
You
don't know why they didn't show you. Maybe it was a news quality interview.
They might not have been trying to spin it that way. You're right, but it is very.
So I mean, you can have an opinion and say that this is why they did it, but it's not based in fact.
But the news story they posted about Occupy was the Occupy movement doesn't know what they stand for. We interviewed a bunch of people and they have no clue. They all want different things, and they showed 2 interviews of people who were eccentric, kind of mentally challenged. And they did not show the interviews of those of us who were actually organizing it.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to downplay it and make it look like a bunch of idiots who want free everything. And that was
hashtag fact check.
Hey, I'm just saying, when I interviewed with CBC, they legitimately left out of the parts of my interview where they didn't want it. Like, straight up left them out. Straight up, just erased them from the interview that I had. You know what they could have done? They could have done the whole interview start to finish. But they didn't. They chose which parts of the interview they wanted to air.
Well,
right?
Probably because they didn't have time.
No.
That's a bullshit excuse. They just didn't want to air it. But they couldn't put the parts that were most favorable to them out of it. They could have left that out and put the other parts in, right?
How did your interview benefit the CBC?
It was sensationalized to what they wanted to air. It was about being pro-Canada.
What did they want to air?
Without getting into this very complicated
what was their
situation.
Agenda? What was the CBC's national agenda?
In this case, it was being leftist. Honest to God, it was being leftist.
What does that mean?
They wanted to...
What does being leftist mean?
There's so many things that being leftist means, right?
So what was their agenda?
They didn't want to give America any of the credit.
For what?
I
think you owe them. I think you owe people a little bit of backstory here.
All right.
If you're going to come out and say that the CBC is leftist and they're biased and they sensationalize things, I think you owe people a little bit of a backstory and a little bit of an explanation behind the opinion.
It was about immigration into Canada.
Okay.
From foreign countries, and I had made the point that my boss at the time had said that the United States had created McDonald's. It was who I worked for at the time. They created McDonald's, so by them creating McDonald's and bringing it to Canada, they had done Canada a favor by bringing McDonald's in the country. I had mentioned this because I wanted to be able to explain both sides to the story that was being presented. And I had said this. My boss had said that when McDonald's came into the United States, it was not a Canadian thing. It was something that the United States brought to Canada. The United States actually brought more jobs to Canada because they brought McDonald's into Canada. And I had said this on national news. They did not present this. because they did not want to, because their story was saying how McDonald's is a bad thing. How McDonald's was not benefiting Canadian workers. It was only bringing in foreign workers, and this had nothing to do with any of that. Right? They were saying that it was a bad thing.
They used their interview to push their point.
They were pushing their agenda.
Not your point of, hey, this brought jobs into Canada.
I was just trying to provide both sides of the stories. I wanted to say, hey, this is what I think. This is what our employees thought. But here is what they said at the corporate level. This is the corporate thing that they said about McDonald's. And they didn't air it. They left it out. They cut it. They cut it out entirely. And I was upset by that.
You don't know why.
You
don't know why they cut it out, and you were
don't.
upset. So that's an emotional-based reaction viewing.
Sure, you could be right about that, but I do think it's odd that they decided to air every other part, and those parts that were beneficial to CBC, but suddenly they wanted to remove this one part. Oh, because of time crunch? Okay, sure.
I don't know, but I do know that they have 51 awards for journalism.
Hey, they won an award. They won an award for my
Fox
piece.
News has tons of awards.
They won an award for the piece that I did. They won lots of awards. Yeah, they won tons of awards, but they didn't air that part. They decided to leave it out. And that's fine. I get it, totally. But, I'm just saying, that isn't, so you decide to leave out the one part that might be the negative to the story?
If it's not relevant.
It is relevant.
I don't know. I'm not a video editor.
Right. But
I'm not a video editor.
They didn't ask me. They didn't ask me permission. We didn't talk about it. They just left it out. And I asked them about it, and they said they gave me the runaround. They didn't talk about it.
Maybe you could talk to the video editors at CBC.
It wasn't a video; it was an audio interview.
It was
no,
video.
that one was video.
It was video. But I'm just saying, they decided to leave it out, and I didn't say anything for a while, and I mentioned it to them, and they were like, "Oh, we don't remember that." It was very weird how they kind of side-skirted it, and it felt very sensationalized to me, very much so.
Yeah.
And that worried me. It concerned me big time, man. I think that no matter what in those situations, right? Oh, we didn't have time. No, we should tell both sides of the story. It's always important to tell both sides of the story when it comes to news media. It's very important. Even if it's total bullshit, right?
Yeah.
The people can decide. The people can decide what's bullshit and what's not. And they should have probably looked at that and said that's bullshit. But why didn't they air it in the first place?
If you critically think, you can decipher bullshit from not bullshit.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you, right? We're on the same page there.
And critically think when you listen to CBC because they aren't all that.
Think critically when you listen to this as well. I encourage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right? Nothing's gospel.
But that's not the norm, as we know.
It's unfortunate. And that's the problem. That's why we're talking about this.
It's not the norm. Think for yourself, people. Don't be an autonomous robot.
Yeah. Don't be
programmed by the masses. Do your own research. Find your own facts. Look at news stories. Look at the facts. Don't take anybody's word as gospel. The truth is out there.
I agree.
The truth is out there.
Make your own distinction. Don't believe you're always right. Don't take everything as fact. Research both sides.
Yeah.
That's
definitely don't ever have a hardline opinion. Don't believe you're right and others are wrong, because that's just stupid. Guaranteed there's truth in the middle, and there's no amount of, as much as you think you're right, you could very well be damn wrong.
And it's tough, right? Because, for example, where we grew up, right? For me, I've lived my whole life in Victoria.
Yep.
We're very left. And that's totally fine. Personally, I'm very left. I am very left. But I grew up in a society where everyone is totally on the left side of things. So I always try to challenge myself and say, what if the right was right? Right? I know that was a weird sentence.
What if the right was right?
What if the right was right? But I always constantly question myself. Could I be wrong about this? Do they have a point? Is there something that they're saying? Is global warming really a myth? I'll study that. Why not? I don't believe that. I don't think global warming is a myth. But I might as well look into it because that seems fair to the other side. A lot of people believe this. 50% of America believes this. Why wouldn't I at least explore that idea? Right? No, I don't believe it, even after the research I did. But it's fair to them to explore that idea. Right?
Check it out.
That's what I'm saying. Just don't, oh man, all of my friends believe the same thing that I believe. That must mean I'm right. No, it's different everywhere else you live. Check into it. Make sure. Do your research. That's the only way that you can have an opinion on something. If you do your fucking research.
Well, the only way to have an informed opinion.
Only way to have an informed opinion, yes.
You can have an uninformed opinion.
Don't have an uninformed opinion, please.
Have an uninformed opinion and talk and watch how seriously people take you.
You right?
I think that'd be good.
I pretty much don't talk to some of my friends about this stuff because they're just so uninformed. And they regurgitate what they were raised with, and they have no clue at what they're spewing out of their mouths. So, yep.
Find the truth.
You gotta find the truth. It's important. You gotta question yourself. Always question yourself at every turn. It's important.
Yeah. Well, what are we at here? Hour and 20 minutes.
We did about 30 minutes of topic. I think we did a pretty damn good job.
We did, yeah. It was pretty damn good this time.
Yeah, it was good topics, too.
Good
It really
episode.
caused some very big controversy. Controversy is a good thing.
Pat yourself on the backs.
I think controversy is a good thing. When people
I
disagree
did
with things,
yoga today. I can't,
it's good.
It hurts to pat myself on the back. All right, well, I have a Flames game to watch and some more rum to drink. My cup is empty, so I think we should sign off.
No, I think it's good to sign off.
Let's sign off. Well, this has been Robert,
Caleb,
Martin.
and we've been three guys with ideas.
Adios.
Adios.
See you.
Bye.